Okay, sorry about that, a bit late. Sorry about setting up my stream a little bit late. How you doing, Brick? It's all right. I had nightmare problems with my internet last night. It took me ages to get through to my provider this morning. Apparently loads of people have had problems. So I couldn't even watch a program on Sky last night. So it's been so frustrating. So I didn't know whether I'd be streaming, in all fairness. So that's why I've sort of left it last minute. Everything seems to be fine. So fingers crossed. So I hope everyone's okay. There's only a few in this morning because, as I said, I've only just literally set my stream. So how you doing, Brick? Dave, good afternoon. Indy, how you doing, pal? So let's have a look. Okay, so we've had a bit of a channel down here. Started off of there, dropped a bit steeper, a little bit of sideways. We pushed up, had a break new high, a little bit of a channel, had a break, eventually worked our way down to a new low, measured move. So it'd be interesting to see what happens today, whether we eventually catch up to that gap. I don't know whether we will or not, but that remains to be seen. So we'll see. Let me just drop that a touch. Beautiful. So I hope everyone's okay. No trade yesterday, obviously. I had to finish my stream and there was no way I was trading with weak internet. It was just a nightmare. Norman, how are you? Norman Roxwell. Have we spoke before? I don't think we have. I think you're a new face, aren't you? So if you are, welcome. So I did come back and stream later in the evening, UK time. But from 7 o'clock onwards, for some reason, my internet just started playing up. Now on Monday morning, we only recently had gigabit fibre installed, which was giving me an average of 900 megabits upload and download, which is phenomenal. So I switched over from normal latency to ultra low, and everything seemed to be fine. And then come around about 7 o'clock, just basically shit hit the fan and it just stopped working. It was patchy. I mean, I couldn't watch one program on Sky last night without it constantly buffering. It was a flipping nightmare. So that's why there's not as many on the stream, because I never set it up, because I didn't want, everyone sat here expecting me to stream and I couldn't work. But everything seems to be fine. I've managed to get through. I mean, it was a nightmare to get through this morning, which told me that perhaps the problem wasn't just limited to me, and that seems to be the case. There is a possible channel there. Possible. We do seem to be having a bit of a bearish move. We're still suffering, I think, from the downgrade of the US credit rating. It's not a major issue. It's not like you're you're going to not be able to borrow or anything, but obviously borrowing's a little more expensive. So let's see how we get on here. I wanted to have a chat with some of you later as well. I looked back on some of Mac's earliest videos where he was recording his trades, and I was quite shocked how bad they were. But I might drop a few in later. But I saw him take a counter trend trade right at the top of a channel, and he made it with the skin of his teeth. He also took a short at what he thought was a reversal. He dropped his order and it never triggered. It went up 2 points, came back 2 points, triggered him, and then came down. He moved his stop to 3 ticks below his signal bar, and it came 2 ticks below his signal bar, and he got lucky. But if you have a look, when you open, I'll show you in a bit. I'll just grab it quickly. But really interesting, actually, how bad some of the trades were. 2012, I think they were. Let's have a quick look. But yeah, if you get his videos up, I might have to just take the sound off. The sound's off. So if you look on his site and click on the videos, and then just click oldest, you'll see some of them. But just have a little look at those. Where have they gone? Have a little look at those later. Some of the oldest ones. He records quite a few, but that one there, we had a couple of legs down, and he took a reversal. He ended up moving his stop 3 ticks below the signal bar. So it's quite interesting to watch. But look at those first sort of, I don't know, where are we? There's one there, there's one there, one there. But he recorded a lot more of them. But you can clearly see he was trading quite a bit different at times. So have a look at that, when you get a bit of time. It's quite interesting. So let's have a little look. I don't know whether we got something bigger brewing or what here. I've got no idea. Let's have a look. Maybe something like that. That sort of, it's a possibility. It's possible. I don't like to draw them too quick because they can affect how I trade a little bit. But it's possible. It does seem to be working in that tier. So maybe a bit of a spike in channel maybe there. Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm going to leave it for now. In fact, I'm going to fade that away that way. It's of interest, but not... Why has that still got colour? I don't know. It's of interest, but not primarily. So, let's have a look who we missed. So, Chris, how you doing, bud? Scruffy, how are you? Thanks, I'm new subscriber. Excellent, welcome. Brick, how you doing? Indy, oh, it's been Indy. Are you, Brick? Okay. Conversation there. Sam, how you doing? Rodian, how are you, brother? Speedy, how you doing, pal? JP, good morning, good afternoon. So, see how we got on today, but we did, I mean, more or less the same as yesterday. We sort of started with a bit of a push, came back, and then basically worked down. Now, obviously, we had that gap initially, which I thought might have got filled, but of course, day before yesterday, we had a downgrade of the US the US credit rating from AAA to AA plus, which I don't think is a major issue, but obviously the markets responded because we've had such strong movements on the S&P 500. We had about 14 months of constant down, and then on the daily, and then we've been pushing up ever since. But the last sort of where were we? I think we're probably the highs up here. Obviously, we've been coming a little bit down, and obviously with that news yesterday, we took a little bit of a 20-point nosedive as soon as the market opened. But we'll see how we get on anyway. See how we get on. Yeah, mate, I've started jumping between the S and the NQ. You're talking to somebody. Yeah, it's something I'm looking at a little bit myself there, buddy. My only issue is, and I had both up once, and what I found is when I was in a trade, and I was playing around on a sim, when I was in a trade, and I was in a short trade, and I was looking at, or no, I was in a trade, I can't remember what it was, and I was looking at the NQ, and the NQ seemed to go down a few ticks, and then I looked at the ES, and the ES seemed to follow it. So I don't know whether that would affect how you trade. I don't know. Because obviously if you're looking at currency traders, they don't just trade one chart like we'll do. They'll be trading multiple currency pairs at a time. So I don't know whether you'd have to trade one or the other, or whether you could trade two. Who knows? Something to play around with. I found worth both, even if you only trade one. Interesting. 150 left for payout. Payouts. Quick 2 points. Fell second entry long. I mean, I've put that channel in. Don't pay too much attention to it because it might not be valid. It just seems to be, it's obviously coming down. It seems to be touching here, close enough here. Whether it's like that or a little bit different, it may turn into this at some point, but it certainly seems like it's working down in this top tier. So let me just have a look. There is some news at 3 o'clock UK time, so just be aware of that. What is it? ISM services. Let me just put something in there. So let's just be aware of that, because I've got a terrible habit of being that focused on the market. Sometimes I forget the bloody news is there, so might be an idea to sort of stuff that right in my eye line. Not that it makes a difference sometimes. Okay. So there is technically a failure there. There is a second entry long there, but it's not ticked lower, and it has triggered. So I'm not a massive fan of that just at the moment. I think it probably worked, but my issue is there's a little bit of support there for the bottom of the overnight lows, so it may bounce and it might bounce and stop you out if you take that one. You may be okay, but just a word of caution taking that. It's bouncing there. You can see it there, and obviously we're at the overnight lows. So, I mean, if it does break through, then I expect it to sort of continue on down. But we'll see. It's a little bit too far from the EMA for me. I like it to push up and sit below if I'm going to take a trade like that into support. At least then you've got a little bit of distance. Let's have a look. Because that is a little bit alarm belly for me. There's your tick. Okay, so you wouldn't have got a point out of that yet. Okay, we touched here, touched here, touched here. And back here, the overnight lows as well. So that could cause a problem. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that trade now. I'm not saying it's definitely going to get stopped out. Sometimes the trade can just help you out. But I can see there's support along there, so that may cause a bounce. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see what happened. Let's see. To push this back to the 500s. You never know, mate. So if you took that trade now, your arse would be twitching. You may need a quick fresh change of underwear. But the way that's coming down, you might be okay. I thought if that L's really bearish, you may be okay. Okay, it's a little bit congested there, which means then it could take that stop because market's going to know that there's stops above there. There is a little bit of congestion there, so I'd be, if I was in that trade now, you may get away with it, but I'll be a bit concerned. If I was in that trade, I'd be tempted to get out of it. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but it's clearly going sideways. It's a bit of ways from the EMA, so it may work, it might not. Let's see what happens here. Okay, I think you just got away with that. Sometimes the trend can just help you out, but let's have a look. So if you did get in there, it went down 2.25. So you got 2 points out of that. That's weird. Look, it's just dropped back down and reversed. It's just a little area of caution, this, in my opinion. Once we can get below comfortably, then we may make another leg down. Okay, that seems good enough. We have pushed back in, but then we drop straight out again. So let's see what happens here. Now that's interesting. They're having none of that. Bearing in mind, be careful trading in here because you've got that news. It may go sideways for another 10 minutes. If it does, you may get stuck. Okay, scrub that idea. Scrub that. Yeah, so it's a little bit of cautious for me the way it dropped below that bottom 3 times and reversed. So let's see what happens here. See if this does push in. I mean, I suppose if it's bearish below here, you could trade this as a failed breakout because it is bearish, but there's caution there because of this support here. So bearing in mind this channel isn't guaranteed. If anything, there's probably a channel there. Yeah, there may be something there like that. Facts. I'm just going to get that out of the way for the minute. It's just confusing matters. let's put that there. Somewhere around there. Kind of fits, doesn't it? Touches here, kind of touches here, touch. I think it's about as good as we've got. But having said that, you could argue that that's probably more like it. How does that fit? Okay, that fits better. So we've gone from here to this first proper swing, and we've had a bit of a break. And we've had maybe not a new low, so that's why we may be getting a bit of a reversal. So it could be going a bit of a range here. Let's see what happens. Have we made a new low there? I don't think we have. It's a matching low, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So let's just chalk these. Let's just put that like that for now, because there is a pot. I mean, we could, whether this is a break or not, I don't know. I think it's likely it is. I always like to assume it is a break, and I'll tell you why I think it's a break. Because we touched here, and usually we'll always go off this first swing, which we did. And if you look here and here, it fits nice. So that's a channel, and it looks like we've had a bit of a break there. So we've tried to make a new low. So it is a possibility we may just make a couple of attempts and then come down further, or it might mean we bounce and push up. In that case, we may end up being in a range. So just put that on in my view, really. It is a bit choppy, mate. Yeah, I think they're going to push this back to the 500s. Yeah, I mean, obviously we had that credit rating report, and initially, obviously, the market's acted negative, not as negatively as it could have done. I mean, it's not a massive drop. It was about here, wasn't it? So it dropped about there to there. Okay, so it's 87 points. It's not huge. You could soon make that up. That's over a day and a half. But I don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how much it's going to affect it. I mean, usually we fill the gap to the bottoms of the lows, but we didn't fill the gap from the open, from where it closed to where it gapped down. So whether we're going to fill that at some point. Yeah, I mean, for me at the moment, the overall is bearish. We've had a leg down, a little bit of sideways, a couple of legs up, and then we sort of worked down with a break and a matching low. So I'd be interested to see what happens this. If we end up pushing through the EMA and closing, then I'd say we may continue down further. But it's a bit too early, really. That's the trouble. If you've got a little bit of a... I don't know, if you've got... There's less volume at the moment, obviously, because there are a lot of... not the institutional guys on taking their holidays, so obviously there's less larger amounts of money coming through it. So okay, news is in about 7.5 minutes, so just be careful getting into a trade. I've had that thing right in front of me before and still taking a trade 2 minutes before. So trouble is you get that focused. Yeah, so hopefully my internet has sorted itself out, but it's been amazing the last few days, and yesterday, for some odd reason, it just lost. I mean, I was looking, I was connecting to my router and looking what data was coming in, and there was less than 10 megabits up and down. So there's nothing more frustrating than that when you've waited ages for super fiber and you can't watch a bloody program. So far, so good. I use that one there, bud. It is. I'm not sure whether you're a part of Mac's Band of Merry Men, and it's off his website. If you, I don't know how you're trading, but I'm trading PATS, price action trading system. It's Mac's system, which I think evolved from originally from Al Brooks. And if you are a member, if you're not a member, it's $125 for a year. And you get a few things like the toolbar, the ATR, and this thing, and a bunch of other things. But it's that there, the AWX Economic News app. And obviously you can go into the settings, high impact, medium impact, and, you know, change all your colours. But yeah, you've got to be part of Mac's group. And if you're not, I highly recommend it. It's $125 for a year. It's got hundreds of videos and all sorts of bits and pieces. But yeah, what it does is gives you the news, and I know at the moment we got this ISM services, which is in about 5 minutes. I tend to forget sometimes, so I put that in front of my eyes, and it doesn't always help. Yeah, you can look for things like FX Factory, that sort of stuff. There's lots of different sources which will give you it. But obviously this is part and parcel of it. It's just useful sometimes. And this never failed me. I've never known, you know, and you get used to certain news at certain parts of the month. Yeah, see, my internet's spot on at the moment. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's over 900 up and 860 down. Sorry, 860 up. So it's firing on all cylinders at the moment, so hopefully it stays that way. You're welcome, Norman. But yeah, Forex Factory, there's a bunch of them, isn't there? There's all sorts of stuff on the internet to pick up news. But yeah, we just have the US news. Nothing that happens over in the UK seems to affect it. The other way around, yeah. But okay, so I think it's safe to assume we've had a little break there and a couple of legs down. We haven't quite made a new low. We've made a matching low, so we seem to be pushing up, although it's going a bit sideways. So we may continue down. But if it does go up, then I'd say we're working in a range a bit then. But we've had this leg down and we've had another leg down, so it may continue down, spike and channel forming. Excuse me. It's looking a bit bearish, this. That's my only... I've just got a feeling we're not finished with the down stuff yet. So let's give that the benefit of the doubt. It's close enough. I don't know. It just looks like it's going a bit flat on the top, which is telling me it's finding a bit of support there. There is a little bit here as well if you look over. So yeah, I don't tend to go long into that really. In fact, let's I have started adding this because it does make a difference. Just support and resistance lines. Anything that seems to play a part further back, I kind of like now having it in front of me, just so I know these areas where it may. Why can't I? Okay. These areas where it may play a part, and it is a little bit there. So, and funnily enough, look, we've pushed above it and dropped below it. So whether it will continue through, I don't know. But I'm just starting to add these of areas where I see a lot of support, because if I'm going along into it, it just might make me think twice. Yeah, see, you can clearly, in fact, that can go up a tick. It's sitting there, so you've got touch, 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 and a close of the body there. So it's clearly playing a part there. See what happens here. Oh dear. Yeah, that's why I'm a bit wary about going long, because look, I've put that there at these 3 parts and look what's just happened there. So that area of resistance is clearly playing a part. We had a touch there, we had a close there, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's definitely an area of interest where, and it just, see, there is a possible second entry long there. The only trouble is that's just making me a bit nervous. Because it is a little bit sideways, isn't it? Let's see what happens here. I think I'm going to have to leave this. It might work. Those 2 bars are both pushed up. If you've got enough points to the top, it might work. But for me, it's just going a bit sideways. I'm a little bit concerned about that. And no delay now. Yeah, it makes a difference, bud. Makes a difference. I think it's a couple of seconds, which is nothing really. It takes you that long to think about the answer, doesn't it? So yeah, it does help with. I've been trying to get it for a long time and it's not been available in our area, but I know over the last 6 months, okay, there's the news, over the last 6 months, they've been digging the roads up, so I've finally got it. But it does, help us if we're discussing about a trade real time. Helps you guys, helps me. Yeah, see, talking about a possible second entry long, I still forgot the news. Fortunately, I decided to stay out anyway because it's struggling. Okay, so that's quite a good sign that we're getting a bit of a push up. I think the market needs a bit of good news, put it that way. So maybe we will get some upward movement now. Let's see. Funny how it's just touched right at the top of that channel there, isn't it? So a little bit of a break, new high. So let's see what happens now. See if we end up having a wider channel and this continues up. Yeah, see if just having a quick glance at the 10,000 tick chart. We've had that push down. That looks like a channel, a little bit of sideways, and obviously we've there's a second entry short there on the bigger, and it's pulled down and made a new low, and it's bottomed here. But it's so for me, the way that's sort of bottomed out. I was watching something last night about the different patterns, and that's a W pattern where you have a double bottom. And apparently we pull back to here. If this next bar closes above there, sometimes that's good confirmation that we're pushing up. So I was just browsing the net last night and I was looking at patterns. Because, sometimes patterns play a part. And yeah, that W pattern, we had a pullback and then a bottoming pattern where you get like a double bottom. And then apparently if that next bar closes above the highs of the body there, that's in most cases an indication that we're moving in the opposite direction. So whether that helps you or helps me, who knows. It's nice to know though. So there's our sort of bottoming pattern, isn't it? We've had a break and we haven't made a new low. We've just hit that. So maybe that means we are doing some upward stuff. So that still works as a spiking channel, I think. Went from here, came back, touched once, came back, touched twice. Backside finishes. This double bottom. So yeah, it's possible we could push up. Now there is a bit more support, possibly here. Let's have a look. Maybe. Let's leave that down for now. I don't want to go mad with these. Okay, so let's have a look. That's kind of looking nice and bearish, but one, it's only a first entry and it's massive. So I am sort of getting the impression that we're moving up, but you still got to be careful. Let's have a look. Okay, so we've got a leg up, maybe another leg up. That would take us up around here somewhere. So let's see what happens. Maybe a second entry. Okay, drop below, sit on top of that support. That might be nice. Okay, there is a bit of liquidity there at 20. Some buying orders at 20, and that kind of be nice if it breaks this low and then pushes up, because that could be a second entry long. Let's see how this finishes. I'm going to get a buy already, because if this finishes nice and bullish, it hasn't.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of this. It may just be going a bit sideways. I'm just going to remove that a minute and let me have another look at it. Okay, so I'm just going to take this out of the way. Let's start with that. Okay, so there's a channel up there, a small channel. We've had a break and we're pushing up. So the bit I don't like is if you look at the tops, trying to make the top, let's say we make the top fits, and that brings us down to here, which kind of looks a bit awkward here. So maybe a little bit sideways and we're pushing up. I don't know. I'm not massively convinced that I like the look of that. I'm just going to remove it just for the time being. We may just be going a bit sideways. Let's have a look. I'm not sure about that either. Yeah, I'm not sure about that channel. It just looks a bit choppy to me. I don't want to get caught in there. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. Yeah, it's dangerous getting in here. It really is. Because you can really just get taken to pieces. I've done it many times. It can really mess you up. It can drop a lovely trade in front of you. It can tick you. As it ticks you, it gives a shorter trade as well, and it stops out the long, stops out the short. It's just trap after trap. So it's clearly, from here, it's choppy up and down. Within a small range of about 4 or 5 points, so you can just get massacred. So my new policy is I just stay out of that until it goes off in a direction, then I'm getting some, another picture of where things are going. But I mean, it is possible it could be having something like a triple test, but the bit that's concerning me is it's making lower highs. So there's almost like a bit of a wedge type pattern, and I don't follow patterns so much, so I don't know how they tend to work out, but for me at the moment, it's just choppy. It is holding there, so that's one thing. Yeah, flat EMA. So it's not telling you what it's doing at the moment. It could come down and have a continuation of the down stuff, or it could go up. I've got no idea at the moment. But what I know is you want to stay away from that stuff. I mean, excuse me, it's definitely got a bearish feel to me. There's no argument there. We've got that big push down, couple of legs of correction, another push down, maybe one leg up, another leg up, and then maybe some more down. I would say, from how I feel, it's probably more likely to continue down, but I wouldn't bet on it, put it that way, so I'm not that convinced. Yeah, see the 10,000 chart, which is more of a bigger picture, not really telling me much either. We've come down, we've gone up, we've come down, we've gone up. There's probably a bigger, in fact, actually there does look like there's a range there, so a bigger range going from here, so let's have a look. Maybe a little bit higher, but let's just put that there. It kind of looks like it's doing that on the 10,000 tick chart, going a bit sideways, so it's just a bit unsure, but it does look like we've had, you know, whatever you say, whether we broke out of a bigger channel here, I don't know, but we've had a push up. We've made a good attempt to go lower, to go higher, and it looks like it's failing from me. It may do, but I got no idea at the moment. And best policy, if you're not sure what's going on, is just stay out of it. Wait till you do. Excuse me just for a minute. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Okay, yeah, it is starting to look bearish, but we'll see. Let's leave it like that for now, because that kind of fits right there. I can't wait to get these institutional traders back at work. Markets are so bloody slow. There's just such a lack of trades. I had nothing yesterday, but just not a lot of setups. It's just here. It's just wicky, isn't it? Wicky and choppy. I did look at that actually. We had a leg down, and it looked like we had sort of two legs. So I expected another leg down. I did have that measured move there, and that did work. And when we had that push down, we had that real sort of, excuse me, doji, but a really bullish doji. As it ticked above and started to come down, I was tempted to put my order one tick below there, but I left it alone. But it does look like after this, we're having another leg down, and we did. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of trading pre-market at the moment. I don't know. I like the trades to work quick. And when you're trading sort of regular trading hours, it don't work that way. Okay, so here we're touching here. Not too bad here. Seems to be working nice. First entry, so that's no good really. If I look at the 10,000 tick chart, we've got a leg up, a break and a leg up, a leg down, a break. We may have another leg down. It is looking bearish to me, so there is a possibility we could come down, but that's just no good, that. I have noticed that as well. I use it for confirmation at times. Yeah. it's weird if you change. See, as far as Max says, you can trade any time frame. There's no reason why you can't. Sometimes if I've looked at, I've got up in the morning, UK time, and I've looked at the markets, if you changed over to the 500 tick chart, it's almost tradable. But yeah, sometimes things seem clearer, and sometimes they don't. But I don't think it's a problem, mate. You can trade anything you like if you're going for the same setups. Okay, so that does look like a channel. We're working there, touch there. It's pretty good here. We've had a break of it, and that's possibly a second entry long, or it could be one test, two test, and then maybe a triple test. Who knows? I kind of like
Order
that.
submitted.
That's a big ass bar, isn't it? So tempted. Oh, anybody looking at that? Oh, dear me. I don't think it's bad, actually, but that's just something I'm not a fan about. I'm not massively convinced that channel's right. You're in, are you? It's a fair old sized bar, isn't it? Let's chuck in a limit order, see if it gets me. Good on you, mate. Good for you, lad. See if it gets me on the limit order.
Order submitted.
Okay, so far so good. Ooh, I'm tempted to take 6 ticks here, I am. Just in case.
Order filled.
Okay, 6 ticks. Oh, 7 ticks. Okay, that's better than nothing. Good on you, mate. I lost my bottle a bit there. I thought the trade was good, but I just lost my confidence a bit there. When the trouble is, because we don't see a great deal of setups now, when you see one, you sort of question yourself, is it right? And that just makes me a little bit nervous. But actually, I questioned, is this channel right? But that's worked out nice, actually. I got 7 ticks out of that. So, and I like the fact that we had a quick conversation about that. A couple of you went, I'm in. So that gives other people confidence as well. So I think it's kind of nice that we have this this sort of being able to talk real time. I mean, 2 seconds is as good as real time. So it was a second entry short, and I got 1 3/4 points, so 7 ticks. So happy days, plus 7 ticks. I just kept doubting myself. I'm thinking, because we just don't see them. It's sort of very rare. I mean, you got more chance of seeing a dodo fly past my window than a decent trade nowadays. But that worked nice, actually. What did it go for? It would have got me 2 points. I was just concerned about getting out. Might get a long off the range lows. You never know. Trouble is, I'm not thinking about going long, but I'll tell you what I am looking at. For me, this looks like a leg and another leg. So I'd expect to come down here. So if I was a gambling man, I may be thinking about holding on to that. I think you may get a decent runner off here. If I had my runner, I'd have my runner, I don't know, a few ticks above here. But yeah, it's a nice trade, that. I don't know, when when you sort of question yourself. I'm glad that I am a little bit more cautious than just jump into any trade. But I've gone from being careless to being over safe, and sometimes I can miss out on trades. But I think that's all part of the journey. You go from one extreme to the other, and then sooner or later you find a balance. But I'm out for 7 ticks there. That's okay. So this will be interesting to see what happens now. You would think if you had a stop there, that would hold. So 7 ticks is okay. I usually go for a couple of points, but I just had this horrible doubting feeling in my head. David, why did you say leave it after a while? Once you put I'm in, that was quick, and then you went leave it. What was going on in your head, mate, when you said that? Scalped out for a point. Good, TDL got a point out of it. Nice one. I mean, it did give you 2 points, but I don't know. It's just very choppy, and sometimes when it's choppy, you can get stuff. Sorry, was about not move. You'll take profit. Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, I added it 2 points. 2 points. I think I set mine at 2.25 points actually. Yeah, 2.25 points, and I moved it for a couple of ticks, but that's all right. I'm happy with that. It looked like a nice trade, but you know, I don't know, because we don't have a lot of nice trades. That is a gift in a way, because we don't have a lot of nice trades. Sometimes when they happen, you question yourself and thinking, am I seeing it right? What am I missing? And I was looking at the channel. But what I do like is there's some support there, and it pushed up into this resistance, so it kind of makes it even better. But it is a nice second entry, double top. But yeah, no, don't apologise, mate. I was just wondering what your thoughts were. Had you changed your mind or something? Yeah, it's not often we get a decent trade nowadays, is it? A really nice setup. And that's why I questioned it. It just seemed a bit too good to be true to me. And that just goes to show how bad the market conditions are when you're almost thinking, am I seeing this? There's almost a hidden second entry there as well, isn't there? And a lower high. I don't think that's a terrible trade to take. They do say careful with congestion, but I'm a believer if you know what you're looking, you can trade congestion. So that's a second entry short. It's a lower high. I expect to make another leg down here, so that actually worked. And it wasn't a huge. Yeah, it was only 1.5. No, 1.25 points. So a tick. That might not have been a bad one to take. We just that clearly went for a couple of points. But it is congested, really. But if you know what you're doing, I mean, it is congested, but it's also clearing away. It's a push up, a drop, and another push up with a bearish bar below the EMA. I'll be surprised if Mac doesn't. He's off, isn't he? I'll be surprised if a few don't mark that. I might mark it as a green bar. Hey, Edward, how are you, mate? But yeah, I did say I won't be surprised if the stops on here hold a leg and a leg because of this measured move. So, good on you, mate. So if I end up having about $10,000 in my PA accounts, I may just sit on that one and try and get down a bit further. But there was a leg down there with a couple of pushes up, and I expect another leg down here, certainly to the bottoms. And if you've got your stop in a solid position, and generally that's about as good as under the EMA you can get. And if you did sort of drop it here, even down to the bottoms, there's 7.5 points there. That's the equivalent of 3-4 good trades. So that's where I put that. And I'll be shocked if it doesn't get there. There's a leg down there. A leg and a leg. There may be another leg. But let's see if I add the confidence in fact. It's a bit lower than that, isn't it? Let's say 7.5 points. Now, if I had a nice, healthy bank balance, I may hold on to that. And then what I may do then is put my stop there, so I'm only risking. What am I looking for? Yeah, I may put my stop there, so I'm only risking then. Oh, sorry. I've gone blank. What's wrong with me today? You put your stop there instead of there. Oh yeah, you've saved yourself something. You're really risking 1.5 points or something. But to me, this just looks. Where's it going, do you think? Leg down. Couple of little pushes up. Leg down. Leg down. Yeah, this is coming down here. So, but once you've got healthier balances, and you can read these markets well, and I'm getting better at them. These, as we know, are really accurate. So it's a shame really to take 2 points when if you read the market right and you've got the context of the market right, you're likely to get 3.5 times that, 4 times that nearly. It seems to be a spiking channel working lower. Yeah, there probably is something larger, mate. But look at that. That's almost definitely coming down at the bottoms, isn't it? At least to the measured move, and that measured move is below the bottoms. That's why I like it. Let's get it right. That's fine. A little pullback. We had one there which triggered above, which makes it go down even quicker. So let's have a look. What I got my 7.5 points. I don't mind a bullish bar here because then it may trigger some longs, which then usually triggers above and comes down. But yeah, what I'd probably have done then is move my stop to break even, then go for the full 7 points, 7.5 points, and you're not risking anything, or even maybe just take a point or two. I like that. Nice big, relatively bullish bar, triggered, drop quickly. That for me is coming straight down. Certainly past that. I wouldn't be shocked if you get a new low for the day because there's probably some longs in here. So I think if we, well, these stops are more or less the same as where that measured leg is. There's a small bear channel there, yeah. Trouble is when it comes from the EMA, it's risky. But I expect to get down here. You took a nice shot off it. Good on you. I like that. When that breaks below there, if there's any stops in there, one leg, two leg, trying to pick the bottom too early, they're going to get taken out. So, right here and right now, I'd bet £100 of my own money we're going to hit that level. We're going to hit that take profit level. Boom. There we go. So if I had the more money you get, the more money you have, the quicker you build your wealth, I think. So if I'd had 10 PA accounts with $10,000 in, I'd have no sweat risking 2.5 points and waiting for that to come down. So we've got a leg down there, couple of pushes up and another leg. And watch that there. Boom. Touch. Look at it bounce off. Watch it come back down to it again. So I'd have got 7.5 points there. Now, if I can get 7.5 points in a week, I'm over the moon. So, one trade, 7.5 points, that's it, you're done for the week. But look how effective those measured legs are. In fact, that could probably even go down a fraction. Where's that one? Yeah, look at that. Look how accurate they are. And that to me looked like a leg down, couple of pushes up, and I expect another leg down. I really liked where the bar was. I know it took me a bit of time to get into it. It was just sort of disbelief. But what I liked about it is it's at a push up, and it's at the highest part after it's pushed up. And I love the fact that the top of the body is sat nice and tightly hugged up against that. I'd have preferred it if it had been another tick or two lower, but sometimes that's just where the candle finished. But if you got the confidence to sit and wait for that pullback, for me, after that leg, we're coming down for another leg, and you'd have got 7.5 points out of that minimum. So as your confidence grows, as you see this sort of stuff day in and day out, you'll get these right 8 times out of 10. And if you're making 3 or 4 times your profit in one trade, I mean, look at that. So for me now, we've definitely got a bearish. So let's just go from this top here to that's just too high, that is. Let's go from there. Yeah, maybe something like that. It's just too big and early. I don't like the fact that this is, but I think that's probably where it's. In fact, it may even be here for now. No, I'm not a fan of these more shallow ones. No, it's not far off a range, that. Okay, so that was good. That was another one I looked at that I thought was a little bit more risky. But if you believe this leg and a couple of pushes and another leg down, you'd have probably taken that. So, low of the day. This is where that measured. The bigger measured leg is likely to be. Let's see what's going on here. Another sharp push down. So may now push up and retest this and then continue down. Depends how bearish it is, but there's either a leg there, or an overall. So let's put that there, and let's put that there. So I expect it to at least hit that, quite possibly that. It's channel down, 2 legs up, 2 legs down overall. Let's have a look. That measured move looked absolutely textbook. Yeah, I tell you what, you'd be surprised how many, if people think markets are random, they couldn't have been further from the truth. It's amazing. You see so many times it'll bang on it on the nearest tick. It'll come down and it'll close on it, and the next bar will push up, come down and close on it, and the next bar will do the same. So you can see where people are taking their profits because they hit these things every time and they're so accurate. But once you built your confidence up over time, over year after a few years, love a good measured move. You and me both, mate. Once you built your confidence up and your skill levels up, and most of all your bank balance, you'll happily risk 2 points to try and get a 7, 8, 10 point move because it's worth it. Especially if you read in the markets well and you know what's going on. Now, I noticed that with these 2 pushes up straight away, so I put a measured leg. What happened? It went exactly where I expected it to. The only slight frustrating thing is you've got to wait for a pullback, and you'll always usually get one, but it's just a bit nerve-wracking. But if you read the markets right, these little pullbacks shouldn't matter. In fact, they're important. They set up sort of groundwork really, and they help hold price. They help create support and resistance that way. It just helps. So we've had a break out of this channel here. Whether there's a bigger one moving, I don't know, but I haven't got the confidence at the moment and the bank balance to let these run. But the important part is that I'm aware of them and I make a note of when they happen. Because when my bank balance is a bit healthier and I can relax a little bit more, I'll be sitting on those and waiting for them. If I can identify a nice trend and I can identify a leg with a couple of breaks out of it, I don't know, 8, 9 times out of 10, it'll do that. Maybe more, maybe even more if you read the market right. It's not a huge move to capture. I mean, if we were talking about a massive leg, then, maybe it can fall a bit short, but it's a great way to to sort of boost your earnings, put it that way. So let's see what happens here. Christ, are we going to end up being spoilt today? I'm not a fan of this. What do I do? I don't know. It's just getting two good trades so close together just feels a little bit unnatural at the moment, doesn't it? I suppose all I can do is, if I do get a bit nervous on some of these trades and I do lose my bottle, maybe just trade one of my accounts instead of all of them that way. I'm only risking a couple of $100 on one account. Okay, so leg break, leg pull back. I do keep wondering whether we can have a bigger channel. This type of size working down here. Let's have a look. That doesn't look too bad. Let's see how that folds up there. It's not too bad. It's similar, slightly smaller. So we've got a leg down, two legs of correction, another leg down. And on a bigger chart, one leg down, a couple of legs of correction, another leg down. We're not quite there yet, but pullbacks are okay. We had one there before we hit our low, or matching low. So leg to leg, bit of a pullback. That's okay. So there's a slightly bigger channel working there, isn't there? Let's just move this over. It is useful to have this 10,000 tick chart. It just gives you a less sort of busy picture. Okay, so we got that. It's slightly, we're going to probably do something like, maybe like that, but that was a bit more clear, isn't it? We're going to push down, leg up, or leg up, and then another push down. So it's really just a down with a pullback and down, isn't it? I never expected that. Okay, so now, as well as having this, it could still be a range. Whether it will or not, I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's see if something's going on here. Yeah, it's possible there is just something bigger. Leg down, could be another couple of legs up before we continue down. Wonder how many evaluations got blown on that 10-point run up. Yeah. So that looks like a leg, a little bit of a break, and another leg. So let's see what happens. I'm not sure about this. I don't think it looks too bad, but there's sort of a leg, a pullback, and a leg in it. Whether it's right, it's not really confirmed at the top, so it's probably. See what happens. Interesting. I didn't think it'd go very far. Let's see if it continues up to this area here. I'd say then I think it's possible. Then we're ranging at the moment, but I still feel down is the way. Leg, break, leg, bearish bar, back to the EMA. Either bounce off or drop below. It's quite nice that, I'd say. For me, we're definitely down at the moment, so caught a piece of that on the NQ. Now I can sit back and just pick the lows hanging. Yeah, it is kind of nice when you get a nice trade in it. Excuse me. And you know, for the day, you can just sit back really. If you don't get nothing else, you've done your job, haven't you? I kind of like that. Start with a nice trade, then you can sort of relax then, can't you? Because I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I first sit down at the screen and I start getting my computer on, I get those butterflies in my stomach, sort of nervous, excited feeling. I kind of hope that goes in a way, because part of me likes it, but part of me doesn't. It's sort of... I used to, when I, in my younger days, I did a little bit of skydiving, and it almost, for me, it's like sitting on the edge of the door, looking out, thinking, I wonder how well this is going to go. But yeah, I do get those nerves, I got to say. Performance nerves. I wonder whether I'd get them as much if I wasn't streaming. I wonder if it's partly because I am streaming. Who knows? Okay, back to the email. Let's have a look. See what happens here. Little bullish bar there. That's just triggered. Let's see what happens. I think that one is going to get stopped out, personally. Let's see. This will tell us whether we're in a range or not. Maybe not. Okay. I still don't finish. We think we finished with the downward movement yet. Now this will be interesting. Whether this holds and whether it takes this out. Okay. Interesting. So let's remove these for now. The main one that concerned me was this one, and that worked. Because that's the trade I would have taken for more points, which actually worked. A couple of legs, which actually works really nice. 505 low is key. Auction reversal and failed breakout. Don't expect that low to be broken without a lot of effort. 505 down here. What is it down at 505? Okay, yeah, there's 570 orders at 505 exactly. Sometimes they struggle to get through. Other times they smash through. You would think if you were going to get out, you would want to get out a few ticks before, but a lot of times it'll just smash straight through it. It's quite uncanny. Okay, so there's some there, and there is some further down as well, which is telling me, let's have a look. Yeah, there is some at 18 and 20 up here. So it may get there, but the majority of it is down, which tells me there are obviously a lot more people out there with bigger pockets than mine expecting the market to continue down. So we've had a channel, we've had a break and a new high. So let's see if we continue on down. There's got to be some sort of channel coming up soon. I'm going to say I'll wait for Mac, but he's not with us at the moment, is he? Okay, that kind of fits nice. Trouble is, it's just too risky, isn't it? Because if I was to leave that there, this is where I'll be looking to take a short. But it's a bit risky. Probably going to be a range day. Yeah, if that continues up. If we can get above here, because there's quite a bit of support here. If we can get above here, then I'd be inclined to agree with you. But if we don't get above here, I would say we may continue down. Let's have a look. Let's see if this is a leg. Okay, so we've had a push up, a couple of attempts to go lower. So that is possible. But if you ask me what I'm now looking at, let's put that there. It's a bit of this. Yeah, so push up, little bit of sideways. Often we'll get this push up, little bit of sideways, decent bar, and then another leg up, which would take us leg a little bit over this. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. So that is a possibility. Let's have a look. It's funny this, if you look at the 10,000 tick charts, we've got this leg down break, nearly a new low, leg down. In fact, you could probably take that down to about that, it's probably safer. Yeah, I like that one. So we've had a break of it. So being with this, what I can see here, leg, break, leg, not quite down the low. I think it's quite feasible we could continue down. Judging by the bigger picture, it depends how this finishes. There is a leg up, but we could get another leg up, but I'm still thinking bearish at the moment. Not bearish enough to take a trade, bearish enough to think it might continue down, and if then we can get something further down, then that'll be it. Like exponential. It's hard to consider longs without our bear. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I watched so many videos at Max, and he said, you know, when we're in a strong trend day, you just can't take counter trend trades. They just mess you up. You know, I was looking at some of his older videos, and he was still saying exactly the same things there. Although he did take a counter trend trade, but there we go. Or he used to. But yeah, the good thing is when you're trading with the trend, sometimes if you mess up and you take a poor trade, sometimes just with the nature of the beast headed in your direction, sometimes it can just help you out. Fails, second entry short below the EMA. For me, I just can't get involved in here. We often see this where we have a leg sideways in a leg, but I have to just keep it in mind the overall picture is down, so it may just tick above and come down. Depends how you've got a bigger channel here. I've tried multiple ways. I don't See, I mean, you could get rid of that and say, okay, so this is your channel. Maybe draw this from, say, a spike. So if you went from there, then perhaps, yes, I don't know, maybe I think it needs to do something else first before I'm convinced of that. Okay, so we've broken out the top here now. Be interesting to see now. I think this may could come back in. It's hard to say. A lot of times we do push up and go sideways and then up again, but if that triggers and pushes up, then yeah, I expect to get up to here. But the trouble is that the overall is bearish, so I wouldn't be comfortable taking a trade in that lot. Now let's get downturn. Excuse me. Okay, folks, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm just going to make myself a cup of tea, and I'll be back 5 minutes. Okay, I am back. Oh, sorry about the back in 1 hour. I changed it last night, didn't I? Forget that. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, as I suspected, it does seem to be continuing on down, doesn't it? There is a lower high there. Oh, stay. Small little channel there with a break, just for now. There's got to be something here, surely. Trouble is, there's such a big time scale from there to there, isn't there? So it kind of sort of works, doesn't it? Trouble is, it kind of sort of fits quite nice in a way. It doesn't fit, but it looks okay in there. But sometimes, so what I might do, just for now, is to just draw that like that and leave that there and just see how it fits there and get rid of this for a minute. I don't try and draw them too early. Sometimes I'll be looking to take a short here then, see, so I'm not sure I am at the moment. Especially how that's just popped out there. Yeah, there's a bit of a trap there, see. We dropped out the bottom. Traders jumped in there, triggered them, stopped them all out. So wherever you took trades along there, if you took a trade there, you may have done. Second entry short, possible, depending on how you've got that drawn. We've had a bit of a break, bearish bar, below the EMA. Okay, let's carry on down. What happens? It triggers you. Shoots up, breaks, closes above all those. That's the trouble with putting these channels in, because you'd be thinking about, sure, okay, we've hit here now, we're definitely coming down. And if this was a real valid channel, you would expect them to continue down. So if we're going a bit sideways, we had a pop out the top, dropped straight away. So you'd be thinking nice and strong there. Maybe triggered some longs here, come back down. You may jump in there confidently thinking you've triggered the longs, we've clearly closed outside, now we're going down. And what happens? It triggers you, shoots up strongly and kills all them. This, you got stops here, maybe stops here. So if you took a trade sort of there, yeah, you wouldn't even got a point out of that, and it just pushed straight up, straight through any stops. That's the trouble sometimes with drawing these bigger channels, because if you think, oh, touch there, well, this is definitely a channel. We're obviously clearly going down, there's no argument there, but for me, the channel just, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. I don't like that great big gap from there to there, which tells me maybe the channel is from here and we haven't quite pushed up for this third touch yet. It's hard to say. But the trouble is, if you're that focused with this bigger channel on we're going down, once we had that break below and that bearish bar, that might be your golden ticket, seeing what happens. 3 ticks, 2 or 3 ticks, and then woof, straight up, straight out, over any stops. I've heard Mac mention about that same thing before. So let's get rid of that. Because there is a pot. I mean, we're clearly going down, but, you know, we've pushed in. We could be going a bit rangy now. See, if obviously, you know, these highs are getting sort of lower and lower, but at some point, if we do push up to here, that would more or less even things out, and you would just call that a failed break out the bottom of the range. The way this is pushing up now and holding, I'm starting to think that maybe it is going to push above there, and we may end up doing a bit of ranging. So I would say, if you look at that, touched here, very close here, touched here, this could be the top of a range. So these are all ifs and buts. But if I put that there and a strong bar down there from here, it kind of fits, doesn't it? The only thing that's leading us to go bearish, we've had that breakout, and obviously we're sort of, you know, we're sort of tick-tacking down, aren't we? But if we're going to push above here now, then I'd say, okay, I think we're going to be going sideways a bit. Trend line snipers, yeah, that's the thing. I try and avoid them if I can. This sort of size are not too bad, but the bigger ones, usually at the end of the day, or if it is touching 4 or 5 times at the top and 3 or 4 times at the bottom, then I think it's a given. But at the moment, I'm just not comfortable with anything I'm drawing. Whether it's something like that, and we haven't come to the top, it's possible. I'm not a fan of these ones that aren't that steep either. They tend to be less reliable. So it's a bit mixed message, but I'm starting to lean towards the side of a range. I mean, if that was to drop out the bottom now, then obviously my plans would change. But for me, that is starting to look like a bull flag. So I'd say we're going to push up in a minute. Usually when you get a push like this, and we're sort of doing that at a slight angle, and you may disagree with that because it's quite flat there. But for me, I'd say I'm starting to think we're going to move up a bit, and just as that's forming now, we'll see. Okay. Push up sideways at an ever so slight angle. We started here, the top here, push out, sort of like a mirror image. Seems like the 5-minute trend line is still valid. I think a bull channel might be forming soon. You could be right, mate. Be interested to see what happens when we get up here, because there's clearly from what time, sort of midday-ish UK time, we've bounced once, bounced twice, and in all fairness, we're holding on here. I mean, this could just be just a failed breakout, and obviously, there, as we know, there's a large area of liquidity there. If you're looking at, if you've got Bookmap, it's a big thick red line, and it goes back quite a chunk of the day, which usually means it's going to hold pretty strong. Sometimes when they're short in like this, it's people just throwing them in, but it may get picked off, but we may just push down a bit, go sideways for a bit, and then down again. Who knows? So if you look at the 10,000 tick chart, it's still looking bearish. We come from here and we're still yo-yoing down. So leg up. If it doesn't come as high as here, it may continue down. So the bigger picture is telling us we still seem to be going down, but if we can get a close above this bit of resistance here and get close to this, for me, then I'd say it's more more of a range. Let's put that there. So, funnily enough, that interested to see whether it hits that but closes below this, because there is some support there, as we know. And if we pushed up strong, and the bars are getting a bit slower, so maybe it's losing a bit of momentum. But there's also the possibility that there may be something bigger. I mean, we've only really touched twice at the moment, but if it does touch up here and then pulls back to here and continues up, then I'll put that back. But that's a possibility. Be interested to see this, whether it hits the measured move and closes below the support there. But these bars get a bit smaller, which means maybe sort of lack of interest in going. Would you want to go long there? Probably not. I'd be inclined, if I wanted to go long, to wait for a bit of a pullback. Yeah, it's definitely lacking some momentum now, isn't it? Would you want to go short here? Not really. It's in the middle of all this, and we haven't made a measured leg. Do you want to go long there? Oh, it's a bit close to this support and this measured leg. I haven't got much room for profit. Is it going to get above that? So there's a little bit of uncertainty there, which is why it might be just having a little bit of sideways there. Maybe a little bit of uncertainty. I think if we're going to push higher, I'd like to see a little bit of a break. Break below, and then maybe that might encourage some longs. Oh, I thought that was going to close above it then. It's just risky going along here, this far from the EMA, isn't it? Especially this, there's clearly some support there. Sorry, some resistance there. And it's a tick or two from it, so if I was going to go long there, I'd want to wait for it to drop below here first to give me a little bit of a run up and something to get. Yeah, I'd expect to get closer to the EMA really before we go any higher. You can clearly, if you look left, you can clearly see all that, can't you? There's a load of chop there and a bit here, so it may fanny around for a bit. But I think if it's going to push much higher, it's going to really have to come a bit lower. Okay, see if this helps. Okay, so it's gotta break out there really to get some interest. Otherwise, no one's going to go along in the middle of that lot, especially when we're so close to this support and literally a point from the measured leg. So maybe this will work. I'd still like to get closer to the EMA really. I mean, if you take that long, all you're doing is going along right in the bloody middle of it all again, aren't you? And that's not very attractive either. Does anyone register with AMP? What's AMP, bud? AMP. Not sure what that is. Please tell me I never just saw a circle of doom. Let me just run a speed test. I saw a circle of doom. Okay, this may work. This may work. If we trigger above with this bar, call this a high or low, that might work. A tick above there on a bullish bar, that might work. Two more ticks and then I think it'll push then. Okay, no, internet's good. It's like a mini range, yeah, it does a bit. Interestingly, say going back a year or so, I used to have a little order, one contract and 1 point scalp and a 1 point risk. And a lot of times where you hit these multiple times like that, if you put your order one tick above, you'll get a quick spike. And I used to quite often used to work there, you get 4 ticks. And once it went up a couple of ticks and then dropped quickly, which you can do that as well. So I stopped doing it in the end, but most of them worked. So it'd be interesting to see how quick, if it pushes a 1 tick above there, that it's a point. So there's a point. There's a point. Now see if it's one of those ones that shoots up or comes back. In fact, you probably take that a bit lower. Not that one. Maybe there. So what this may do is come down, trigger a load of shorts, and then push up a bit. Let's get rid of that. So I didn't get my points. That's why I stopped doing it. See what happens. No, I thought if that was bearish, it may trigger some shorts, picking maybe a bit of support and then push up a bit higher. But I still like to hit that. See what happens here. Nah. tick above that and hit that measured move. That measured move can be a bit lower actually. There. How accurate is this? Yeah. Yeah, look at that. How accurate is that? There we go. So that worked. Leg, clearly. You can see where it closed and opened exactly on that measured leg. So this is our next target. We're above a lot of this shit now, so it should be okay, hopefully. Should be free to the top. So I'd say, if it does get close to here, I'd say, so I'll tell you what we'll do. Let me just clear some of this up, see if it looks a bit better. Let's remove that. Let's put that there. Down a fraction. It's close enough, and let's darken it a little bit. Okay, for me now, forgetting all this, from here, it's ranging. And obviously, you can clearly see where that's going, can't you? There's no reason why it would stop there. There's no reason why it would stop there. So for me, it's clearly going sideways now. Maybe something like that. That kind of looks okay. Push up there, working this top little tier, a little bit of sideways, quick drop, triggered some longs, pushed up again. That looks all right to me, that does. So we have had a little break out the bottom here, so we could have the same at the top, but that for me is how that looks. It fits nice at the top, fits nice at the bottom. I'm happy with that. It's a nice fitting channel. It's just a little bit of two-tier one. We had that initially strong push up, then we fit in this one tier, a little bit of sideways, quick drop, and then this tier. That looks all right to me. So we're coming up to this. I didn't think there was any reason why it would slow down. We're above this. Once we got above here, we're above all this, most of this. So interesting. So maybe that'll trigger and push to the top, or maybe that's high enough. You could argue that that's like that, really. Maybe there. Where's the most touches? Okay, that's two. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Yeah, we had that quick bearish bar. It never triggered, but I bet you traders will have been buying that on the bottom, and then obviously we pushed stronger. I thought that might trigger below, but if it did, I expected fully to get up to here. Now, bearing in mind we've had this, a lot of times when you see these, we have an overshoot one side, we'll have the opposite the other side. And we clearly have that. So now let's see what goes on. See if we come back in. It's quite a tight channel, isn't it? It fits quite nice. So let's see what happens. Let's put a bit of colour in that. Oh. Okay. Interesting. So we're bunching up at the top here. So there is a possibility that if this is bearish, it could come back to the EMA. We've also got the midline here, right from the very top, not quite right to the very bottom there. See how this finishes. What's AMP? You guys are chatting about it. What is it? What is AMP? Is it a broker? You're talking about a broker? Oh, okay, I got you. It doesn't matter if you're trading with Apex, does it? Yeah, I got you. I did use one with when I first started. Is it something Philip something? They got their own now, haven't they? Ninja Trader, their own broker. Not brave enough to use my own money. I'd rather use Apex's money. Philip Capital, yeah, that's it. I believe now it is, hasn't it gone over to, because I haven't traded my own account for a year and a half, I think. A year or so, year and a bit. I think Apex have got their own, not Apex, Ninja Trader have got their own now, I think, haven't they? Let me have a look. Maybe a tiny spike in a channel here. It's possible. Let's see. Maybe not. You try to clear in, yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad? Trouble is, they sort of got the monopoly, haven't they? They can more or less charge you what they want, and if you trade with Ninja Trader, you have to use their own, or can you use your own? Okay, it's a little bit better of better. Is that a betterer? It's a little bit cleaner today. There's still a lot of areas of chop, but we've had this leg down, a couple of pushes, nice trade there, clearly making another leg. So it's just a little bit cleaner today, not as choppy. It still has its moments. Obviously there was a section there and a little bit here, but it is moving. It's a little bit more fluent today, isn't it? Same again up here. In fact, you may have taken that one as a higher low, actually. In fact, a failure. So look. Yeah, that in fact, if I'd have sent that a bit earlier, I might have taken that. My only slight concern was this area of there's some support there, but it did work. I won't be surprised if anybody marks this one. I'll see, it is a bit far from the EMA, but yeah, there we go. Right, this will be interesting. Come down to the EMA. Nice big bullish bar, ends on its high. Triggered. So, if we're ranging and we're coming back into the range, this is going to stop that out. Interesting. It is quite bullish though off the EMA. So as we've broken above here, we're not at the highs of the day anyway. So as we've broken above here, it may continue on and break these highs. It is a dropout, and it's almost but a tick bounced off the EMA. Trouble is, it could leg down, trigger you, and then leg down, and then push up. Okay, so it was only a first entry, but it was kind of nice and positive. But trouble is, you know, I don't really want to be going along just above here. Okay, big bearish bar there. So I'd say for me, this is likely to come back down. You could say 1, 2, 3. You make almost a triple test. One. Tough on that. I'm not trading my accounts on that one. 2, 3. So like, he may still facing up. Ooh, I think he's risky. Excuse me a second. Yeah, just could do anything that. We could obviously start to move back up, but that's kind of a nice channel with a break. We haven't made a new high yet, but the last thing I want to do is take a trade when I'm this up on over my account, so that would be stupidity. Yeah, it does, Thomas. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. See, there's still, if you look at that lot there, there's the same back there and kind of there as well. Now this is interesting. Once, twice, 3 times, maybe a triple test. I don't know. I think that's asking for trouble. Yeah, that's just asking for trouble, that is. What I will say is we haven't made a new high yet, and we've had a really strong green bar there, so that may hold. Let me get rid of that. Put that in there. I'd say that is probably likely going to push higher. That hasn't triggered yet, so let's have a look. We got the midline just above us, so yeah, I'm certainly not getting involved in this. It could go either way. I'd say with the EMA facing up, we broke out here, and we seem to be holding on this line, and we've had a good strong bullish bar. We tried to break low, we've had a good strong bullish bar, so I'd say it's likely to break higher, but I'm not prepared to bet on it, put it that way. I would prefer to see that bar triggered, really. If that had triggered, then we may have had a interesting. So 1, 2, that could be the triple test. The trouble is, I'm just not interested in all that. It's just asking for trouble. We've had a really strong move, and we've had a couple of down. Yesterday, a down day, and this, so it could capture some of it back. Okay, so if you took it as a triple test and you took that one, your arse would be twitching like a good one. That's like trap run all over there, isn't it? See, that's quite bearish, that is, isn't it, really? And what happened? It triggered and pushed that strong, but it's holding at the moment. But I wouldn't be that confident. You could call that there's a new high there after this. Second entry long. If that finishes nice and bullish, slightly above this, all it's got to do is tick above that, and that might give it the momentum to go a little bit higher. But I mean, you look that way, you can clearly see there's loads of support and resistance there. So we're having all the same issues there. So that may hold, but if you took that short, your arse starts shaking because it triggered you. And up to, I mean, I thought straight away it's going to smash straight through there and push high, but okay, so we touched once, twice. You could say that's a triple test. We've pushed up, we've gone up once, come back down, gone up a second time, come back down, gone up a bunch of times, but that's the most bearish. So let's see if that triple test worked. I'm just not interested in this because it's above here and it could come down. It could do anything, in all fairness. The only thing I could see there that you may call a trade is the triple test, but I'm not interested in it. Where did it go? You would have got a point. You may not have got a point out of it. That could be a second entry long off here. If you think we're going to break the highs, I don't think it'd be a terrible trade for maybe a point, but I'm not trading it. It is a second entry long, and we have come down again, so who knows? I'm not getting involved. But what I will say is if it does trigger, it may trigger and really ram up, but it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I'll be inclined to agree with you, mate. So it'd be interesting to see what happens now. Does this hightail and push up or what? So if you did take that as a second entry, well, I don't know if you'd take it as a second entry short, would you? But maybe a triple test. Hey, Chris, how you doing, pal? Brand to failed second entry long here would be nice. Yeah. So both of those are triggered, but I think that's a trap waiting to happen myself. Excellent. Good on you, mate. Yeah, if this comes down below there, for me, we're down. So here's your new high. There's your first dent. There's your possible failure. So what I'm going to do is just toggle off my accounts, and I'll go on to, say, 31. And I'm
order
going to put
submitted.
an order one tick below there, just on the one account. 31. Because it's triggered above there, and I'd say we're coming in then, so I'm just risking one account. Maybe some shorts below there, so if it breaks below there, it may hit that one, so we'll see. I'm only trading the one account. It may not work. Well, that surprised me. Why does any of your guys do that? Look.
Order
That's
cancelled.
doing that. Okay, so maybe it's round 2.
Order submitted.
Hello. It's really trying to go higher, isn't it? But trouble is, there could be a lot of longs stuck in there, and if it does trigger those longs out, there may be some longs there going long. Might come down still, yeah. I'm only trading one of my accounts anyway, so I'm not doing them all. So I did have a small trade on that earlier, just on this one account. If ever I see something that might be a bit risky, I'll just trade the one account. See what happens. Now, do I take it there or not?
Order filled.
Okay. If it breaks below here, we may be okay. So let's just go for... let's go for a couple of points. See what happens. Uh-oh. 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 A trap and a trap. Is this where you want to give it one extra tick or not? Maybe not. Trigger's above there, see if it comes down. So it'll either trap me or trap along there, we'll see. Just going to give that one extra tick.
Stop filled.
Oh, it kicked me out. Oh, it failed. Oh, well, okay. What happened there? Oh, I think I just hit it on there. What's it? Yeah, okay. It's all right. It's closed. It's closed down. Yeah, so there's multiple traps there, isn't there? Trap the longs, triggered them, stopped them out. Oh, well. Well, I thought after that, try to go a one strike. We saw a failure. We've tried multiple times. It's all right, mate. I just did it on the one account, that's all. I didn't trade all of them. I just traded on the one account. So that's all right. I don't mind doing that. So this looks like it may go higher. Oh, well. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's Trap City, isn't it? In fact, you know what? I might finish early today. And I've been trading 2 hours a year. So I'm up on 4 accounts, and I'm up because I did a trade earlier there. I'm up a little bit on that one, about $60 on that one. So that's still a positive day. So yeah, so I'm going to knock it on the head and finish early actually. So that's where was the trade I took? It was that one, wasn't it? So 1-on-1 today. So that one there, but there you go. So at least I won on 5 accounts there and just lost on the one there. But I did a small trade on that earlier. So that's it for today, folks. Not been a bad day at all. A little bit better. So I will be back again same time tomorrow. We are, when are we? Thursday? Friday tomorrow. Is it Friday tomorrow already? Oh my God. Yeah, Friday tomorrow. So right, have a great day. Good luck if you keep trading. Yeah, see you too, mate. You take care. And I will catch up with you all same time tomorrow. Bye for now.